Hello friends, welcome back. My name is Kate and today we're going to paint this beginner-friendly poppy field landscape on a watercolor bookmark. Let's get started. To begin this painting, we are going to go straight in with some Alzerian crimson paint and begin painting in our flower shapes. Each poppy flower is going to be in a shape similar to a fan. I varied the size and shape of my flowers to give the composition some interest and depth. If you are enjoying this tutorial, then you also may be interested in my watercolor rose tutorial. Click the link in the top right-hand corner if you would like to check that out. We need to wait for our flowers to completely dry before moving on. For our next step, we are going to fill the entire bookmark with clean water, avoiding the flowers. The best part about this step is that the new layer of paint will only go where the clean water is, so we don't have to worry about our flowers getting ruined by our new layer of paint. Next, I'm going to take a light wash of green paint and begin filling in the majority of the bookmark with this color, avoiding my flowers. Then I went in with a dark wash of green paint, which means adding more paint than water to my paint mixture, and I added that around the bottom section of the bookmark. This is going to help our painting feel like there is some depth in our poppy field. Then I switched over to a light wash of my teal paint and I filled in the small section that was left at the top of the bookmark to create a sky area. I did want to mention I will have all of the specific supplies that I used as well as all of the colors I used for this bookmark over on my blog. I will have a link in the description if you would like to check that out. Once that last layer completely dried, I can go in with that same dark wash of green paint and begin painting in loose stems on all of the flowers. I ended up making my stems wavy instead of just a straight line to give this a fun and artistic look. Then, once my stems were in place, I loosely painted in some leaves along the stems. I just used a basic leaf shape for all of the leaves on these poppy flowers. All I did was use the tip of my brush to create the top of the leaf and the belly of the brush to create the bottom of the leaf. I ended up adding some more blue paint to the sky section of this painting, and then I just blended it downward into the grass section using clean water. I also added a few sections of grass blades with the same green paint by flicking in thin lines using my small round brush. Next, I went back in with my red paint and gave the flowers a second layer, and then I splattered that red paint lightly around the grass and flower section of the bookmark. I had some of my red paint get onto my wet blue sky, so I just used a dry piece of paper towel to sop up that random splatter that got on the sky. Once the entire painting dried, I took some black paint on the tip of my brush and I tapped it in loosely in the center of each of the flowers. The flower on the very bottom wasn't turning out the way I wanted it to, so I ended up reactivating the paint on that flower by placing more water on that entire flower area, and then I sopped up the paint using my round brush. The round brush was dry, so that by putting it over that wet paint, it just took it right up into the brush. Then I refilled that shape of my flower with that same red paint, and then after it dried, I went back in and I put in that black center using the tip of my brush. And there you have an easy poppy field watercolor bookmark. This bookmark will be for sale over on my Etsy shop if you would like to check it out. I will have a link in the description box below. Thanks so much for following along. Here are a few more watercolor tutorials you may also like.